Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Two Buds One Podcast, episode 27. I am your host, the Techno Jelly, with my co-host Alchem Games. Alchem, this week has been kind of a slow news week. Honestly, there's been a couple of things. I feel like we're kind of like we're in that patch where everyone's kind of waiting for Summer's Game Fest because that's coming up in like a month or two, and like everyone's like, so it's just like small indie game stuff or like more. It's like the calm before the storm because there's just so much. People are just waiting to release stuff, and now that I feel like it's going to be one of those things where after Summer Games Fest there's going to be so much things that are coming out because now everyone knows when GTA 6 is coming out exactly. So they're like, we have to get out before GTA 6 because that's going to be a death unless you're Devolver Digital who have committed to releasing a game the same day as GTA 6 apparently, which is funny.
I mean,
because, they're Devolver Digital, and Devolver Digital does whatever they do.
They do what they do. We kind of just enjoy it or lament it.
Yeah. So, the first thing I wanted to talk about, actually, is not one of the main stories, but it's something connected to the last week we talked about, because I think both you and I forgot, is that we're talking about GTA 6, and we're talking about the release date, and we're talking how we're not going to be buying it on release. And I think, actually, Alchem, we can't buy it on release. Because it's not coming out on PC immediately. Which I think we both might have forgotten. At least I forgot.
Yep,
I don't know if you were, like, factoring that in. I completely forgot that it wasn't even coming out on PC until later. I was like... I did a video on when they did the whole trailer announcement, when they, like, launched the new trailer and the new website. I did a whole video on that, and I was like, wait a minute. It's only PS5 and Xbox. I like had this moment, like, mind-blown moment where I was like, oh my god, I forgot that it's not coming out on PC right away.
You fool.
Yeah, I know, right? Did you watch that
like
trailer?
A year, or is it the new one?
The new trailer 2.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it looked beautiful.
Yeah, that's not CGI. That's in game. That's in engine, which is insane.
All in game.
And do you also know what another crazy thing is? That's in game running on a base PS5. That's not like the PS5 Pro. It's not a PC. It's not the beefed up Xbox. It's a base PS5, which is crazy. Sorry, I cut you off a little bit there. What were you gonna say?
What? No, you're fine.
Okay.
You're fine. Totally fine.
What were you gonna say?
I forgot.
Oh, okay, that's fine. So yeah, I just wanted to bring that up quickly because for me personally, I completely forgot about that, and I was like, oh yeah, it's not even coming out for PC yet, so I definitely won't be playing it because I don't have PS5 or the newest X. Well, I guess technically I could get an Xbox, but I'm not going to.
Yeah. Oh no! Okay, it just came back to me. The only thing I'm worried about is the time in which between the console release and the PC release, and I'm just hoping it's not going to be like previous times where it's like almost a year.
I was gonna say I'm guessing it's about a year. That's my guess. It's gonna be a year. I mean, for GTA 5, it was about a year, right? So that's probably going to be my guess. That's going to be about a year.
Oh, well. At least there's going to be a bunch of other games in the meantime.
I mean, there's tons of other games.
There won't be others. There won't be any others like GTA.
I mean...
Can't there be more?
To be fair, there are some games kind of like GTA, but, like, it's kind of dumb to make a game like GTA, because then you're going to be compared to GTA. And that's just like a death sentence, I feel like,
It's not the same. Oh, cool.
I mean, it's true. That's the exact reason why they don't. There are actually, funny enough, there are a couple of games that I've seen that are coming out like the old school GTAs, like the top down GTAs before they went third person 3D. So that's kind of interesting. I can't remember what their names are, unfortunately, but I've seen at least 2, I think, that are like basically old school GTAs. One of them was like you're playing as a cop in like a really crime filled like city. So that would be interesting, definitely, to be on like the other side of it. But yeah, so that was just something I wanted to bring up real fast because I was like, yeah, I completely forgot that it wasn't coming out for PC. The first story I want to talk to you about, Alchem, is a follow-up of something that we've talked about over I feel like we've talked about this since the podcast even started, because it was around that time where it was starting, and it is an update, technically an update to the Palworld versus Nintendo lawsuit, the patent lawsuit.
Oh yeah.
So
I'll be honest with you, I thought we talked about that previously, so I forgot.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked. I mean, we talk about it periodically because I find either you find or I find updates to it, and this week
there's
a new update came out where they have another patch coming out, version 5.5, where they have to make a concession or a compromise. And I'll just read it out for they tweeted it out, and it was a pretty long tweet, but I'll read out the paragraph that matters for us at least. Furthermore, we regret to inform our players that with the implementations of patch version 0.5.5, we must make yet another compromise. From this patch onwards, gliding will be performed using a glider rather than pals. Pals in the player's team will still provide passive buffs to the gliding, but players will now need to have a glider in their inventory in order to glide. We understand that this will be disappointing for many, but as it is for us, but we hope our fans understand these changes are necessary in order to prevent further disruptions to the development of Palworld, which really sucks. I mean, luckily, it's mostly just a graphics change. They're basically just saying everything the PAL does still it does. It's just it's a graphics change to the glider.
Mm-hmm. Well, remember, there were pals that glided.
There were. So it does change the game a little bit, but it's not that big of a change. But it is still really stupid that they have to do this.
It's just, the only alarming part is the fact that Nintendo is doing the thing that most game developers where, well, those that at least didn't want to do this were going. They're trying to copyright game mechanics.
They're patenting it, to be fair.
They're patenting game
which
mechanics,
is arguably worse.
It shouldn't be done. Yeah. Shouldn't be done because at that point you're basically just limiting what games can be. And it's like there's this cool mechanic that people would like. Oh, sorry, only one game developer or one publisher or one company can do that.
I mean, the classic example that I always give off for something that has actually happened is the Nemesis system from the
the biggest
Lord of the Rings game. I think that's the biggest because it's also the most blatant example because literally only 2 games ever used it, and it's such a cool system.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's never gonna happen again. And apparently, the Wonder Woman game that they were making for like 5 years or so, like they were working on that got canceled. Apparently, that was using the Nemesis system as well. But the game got canceled, so now it doesn't even matter, which really sucks. So yeah, it's super dumb.
At the concept of gliding with an animal.
Yeah, the one good thing is though, or multiple good things, is that we have had an update on the lawsuit itself as well, because we have to remember these are just compromises they're making so they can still continue developing the game while the lawsuit happens. They're still fighting the lawsuit. They're not not fighting the lawsuit. They're making these compromises because what most likely happened is their lawyer said it will make it easier for you guys to do this if you just do these compromises for now, and then you can change it back, hopefully, when they win the lawsuit. Right? Which is understandable.
Please win.
So the biggest thing for that is that we have found the I don't know what it's called, like the first steps of the lawsuit, like that the actual steps of Pocket Pair, which are I think they're the plaintiffs technically in this lawsuit, is that they filed for their official defense, like what they're doing, and they basically now I am paraphrasing. There's a lot of legal stuff. It's also direct translation from Japanese, so the English translation. English doesn't translate super well when it's directly translated, but it's the best we got. Right. So basically, their defense is these mechanics existed before, which very understandable. Pretty much every single person knows that. but it's a different thing, really, when you're trying to do something legally, right? It takes a lot of time, and you kind of have to say the obvious stuff, because there's nothing, you should never take anything for granted, or you should never assume anything in a lawsuit. You have to make sure everything is spelled out painfully carefully, you know? Mm-hmm. And that was basically their defense in a nutshell. Let me just quickly bring it up for the thing. And oh, this is not it. Now I'm sad because I thought I had it and I realized this was not it. Okay, yeah.
While you're finding it, yeah.
No, okay, go ahead. You have something?
No, while you're finding it, yeah, you're right about the painfully detailed way. They have to explain the whole concept of. Now, this is Palworld's defense, right?
Yes, this is Palworld. This is okay. Technically, this is Pocket Pair, which is the company.
Pocket Pair, yeah.
This is the company the publisher / developer of Palworld, and this is Pocket Pair's response to the filings of Nintendo's patent laws.
They do need to explain the concept that yes, this kind of mechanic, this thing has been done before by several other games where you use a flying mount, a partner, or something that is alongside you, an ally that has the ability to fly or therefore glide while holding you. There's been many games in the past that have done it, and they have to bring those examples up because you can't just. If Nintendo's going to say that they want a patent or they have a patent to that, then they're going to have to start actually defending it against all these other games that exist. Otherwise, they have to relinquish that patent. You can't just pick the patent specifically for one person.
And also, it's also good to think these patents are specifically in Japan. Mm-hmm. And these same patents were rejected in the U.S. patents law. So the U.S. patent law, this is not U.S. patent law. This is Japanese patent law, which could be different from whatever your what you know legally. Yeah. And there are some differences, but for the most part, it's slightly similar. The only issue is that this is Japan and it's Nintendo. And Nintendo are notorious for whenever they have a lawsuit in Japan to be basically they haven't lost because they know the law so well, obviously, because they're a Japanese company. And I'm not even talking about favoritism. It's just that Nintendo only ever takes fights that they are almost positive they're going to win. Like, it's a 95% chance. And so far, I don't think they've lost anything when it comes to Japanese specific lawsuits. Which is worrying. Okay, so I found it. It was reported by GameFry, which is a very good reporting / analytical thing. They report on all this type of stuff. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it is a lot. It's like I said, it's literally legal documents. They are kind of what's it called, like paraphrasing it, but even with that, it's a lot. So basically, they have their defense is this. They have a couple like. They had to divide it into, like, you know, in the legal documents, like the 1.1, 1.2, 1-A type of style of defenses. So, the first thing that they are defending is they are, oh God, what's the word? Providing, it's kind of similar to like case law, where they're providing examples of games that have mechanics that existed before these patents existed. And I think some of the savvy things is that they're also showing, how different, like all these different styles of games in these patents. For instance, they cite Rune Factory 5, Titanfall 2, Pikmin 3 as 3 different games that have examples of similar gameplay in that the patents claim. And I think this is really clever because those 3 games are super different to just show how different or like how generic these patents are, because like there's so many different games that do this. Like they also cite Far Cry 5, Tomb Raider, Octopath Traveler, Final Fantasy, and just a ton of different things. And the funny thing is, they also like their own game, Craftopia. They also cite Monster Hunter. They cite Nexamon. They cite with some very similar mechanics that Nintendo are claiming to be patented, which is a very good defense, because the thing about patents is that if it's too generic, it's not a patent. Like it has to be something very specific, like, which unfortunately is similar, like the Nemesis system. The Nemesis system is very specific, which is why no one can use it, because it's patented. So that's basically their defense, their beginning defense. It is obviously way more detailed than that. And another thing is they also, which I also think is really clever, is they reference and cite a lot of other Nintendo games to show that they are breaking their own patents if this is true. Because Nintendo has, like, if the patents were right, only the Pokemon Company would be allowed to use these things.
Yep. They have to show that Nintendo has not, that this is a unique thing, a unique mechanic that has not been used before, and that they have been trying to stop it, or like make sure that it doesn't get used around. But no, they don't. They have no proof. They have nothing like that. It's a very, very core concept of an idea. It's not, gliding is not a mechanic. Gliding is not a thing a company should be able to just like patent and use. Not even the concept of using an ally or using an animal you caught as a glider should not be considered that way. Or should not be considered for for a video game.
Well, I mean, that one's even more blatant, because they basically describe a mounting system. That's what the patent basically describes.
If they're trying to do a mounting system, that's completely out of here, because there's been so many other games that have had things where you mount animals. So that one's just frivolous. They're just trying to, like, at that point,
even if you think about like games from the Nintendo Entertainment System, like Battletoads, you could mount stuff, like there's so many games that are literally made in the 90s
that have been using games of horseback riding. What are you going to do? Patent those? I mean, say that they're stealing your patent?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. At this point, it's clear, or it should be clear to most people, that this is just a blatant attack on a franchise that has just slightly gotten a little more success than Nintendo's, Pokemon.
I mean, honestly, Alchem, it's not even that they got more successful than because they're not more successful than Pokemon, but they got too successful.
They got too successful
because they got
too far to the sun.
Yeah, it got too close to even considering it being competition. Which, I'll be honest, I don't think Palworld is any competition to Pokemon. Pokemon still dominates.
You're going too close.
Yeah, Pokemon still dominates everything. And also, they're very different games. Pokemon plays nothing like Palworld.
No, nothing at all. They do not.
One's a survival crafting game, and the other one is a monster JRPG battler.
The only similarity is literally just the fact that it's you're capturing animals in the balls, and I guess the design. That's it.
I mean, no one can argue that the pals in Palworld are heavily influenced by Pokemon, but they're also heavily influenced by everything that is like Pokemon. Like, they're also influenced by Digimon and Monster. What's that JRPG? Monster Quest.
A Monster Hunter?
No,
Monster Quest. Okay.
It's a JRPG that Pokemon also took some, but like were influenced by as well. Like,
Dragon Quest.
Dragon Quest, that's what it is. And yeah, so like Palworld is obviously the heaviest influence obviously is Pokemon. I'm like, no one is going to deny that. And even the Palworld and Pokepair themselves say they were heavily influenced by Pokemon. Like, that, no one is arguing that, but they didn't steal from Pokemon, and they definitely didn't take these game mechanics. So hopefully this goes fine. Like, we do know that they are a Pocket Pair has money, luckily. They don't have Nintendo money, but I think the only worry is that Nintendo just drags this out and Pocket Pair runs out of money. Because there's no way this is going to win in court. Like,
yeah, no.
I want to have enough confidence in the court system, whether it be Japanese or not, that they will see that this is too generic for a patent. Especially if Pocket Pair can prove, like, there are so many games that use these things before Nintendo and during Nintendo's patents, that if Nintendo has to be fighting all these different game companies then, and sometimes themselves, depending on how specific the patent law, if they filed it with Nintendo or with Pokemon Company. Because if it's with the Pokemon Company, then that's different. But I think they did file these under Nintendo. But, like, even then, there's still some weird stuff there, because Nintendo may be publishing games, but they don't. It's sometimes second party, basically, dev teams, where they're a separate dev team but under Nintendo. Like, there's in-house Nintendo teams. So yeah, so hopefully that it goes well. And also I was wrong. The plaintiffs are actually Nintendo and the Pokemon Company, and the defendant are Pocket Pair. I'm sorry, I got my legal terms mixed up. I thought the plaintiff was the defendant, but no, the plaintiff is the person. The
plaintiff is the person charging the suit, and
the person who filed. The plaintiff is the person who filed the suit. I forgot.
Yep.
So hopefully this. I mean, it's going to continue on. And
if we hear another suit, if we hear another claim from Nintendo, then it's really, they're just trying to, like, just squeeze them out of all the money. That's all they're doing.
I mean, we already know that. I mean, do you even know what they're going for? Like,
no,
the objectives of this lawsuit is nothing.
Yeah, no, there's this, to Nintendo, this is Pocket Chain, but to what's it called? The parent company of Palworld.
Pocket Pair.
I mean, as successful as they were, as successful as Pocket Pair were, I mean, eventually this will drag on, and unless they have some form of, like, game that's earning them more revenue.
I mean, to be fair, Palworld is still it's still selling copies, luckily.
Yeah.
I mean, when you even look at how
long Nintendo wants to drag this out for.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what, like, okay, do you know what happens if Nintendo wins, Alchem, in this suit? Because what they're, like, seeking for damages?
What are they seeking?
It's like $33,000 or something like that. Like, it's nothing. So it's literally designed to drain them.
But don't they want something else as well? Like, they want them to just basically take down the game?
No, well, it's basically change the game and give some money. But, like, the money is not a lot. So, like, it's mostly meant to either scare them or drain them. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like whatever they want to change in the game is probably going to be significant enough that it will just completely change what Palworld is.
Well, yeah, they'd have to take out PAL spheres, basically, and they'd have to take out the mounting, and they'd have to take out. I mean, they've already changed it, like, where you can't throw your PAL anymore. If I don't know if you've played recently,
just kind of get summoned by your side.
You get summoned by their side now because they had to change it a little bit.
I'll say this: if gliding is removed, that's not so bad because most people didn't really use the PAL gliding.
I honestly didn't even know you could glide with their PALs.
If they do take out the mechanic for mounting your PAL to fly around, that's gonna be major because some portions of the map aren't accessible unless you actually have a mount. So it's gonna be a big game changer if that happens. No, hopefully not.
Yeah, majorly so.
Oh,
sorry, I accidentally muted myself, and I was like, "Why isn't Alchem?"
Because I saw your mouth moving like.
I was like, "Why isn't Alchem responding?" Oh, I'm muted. So yeah. So I mean, I don't know if luckily or unfortunately, we'll be giving updates on this as it happens, but unfortunately, for Pocket Pair, this is probably going to be a multi-year long story, and. Because it's the legal system, so it's gonna take a while anyway. I was gonna say, like, I think if this is, like, concluded fast, I think it takes a year, maybe 2 years. I think if it gets dragged out, I'm thinking like 4 or 5 years. And when it gets past a year, I'm worried about Pocket Pair's finances. Because I think they can last a year.
Yeah.
It's just like, obviously you don't have as much money as Nintendo. But like, Pocket Pair did well. Craftopia, while not accessible as Palworld, did fine. Palworld sold tons of copies. Millions of copies, I think. Yeah, and they also have an Xbox Game Pass deal as well. So that definitely gave them money. So like, there's a lot of things going for them for this, but they don't have Nintendo money. So that's the problem. So hopefully goes
we won't hear
fast.
Back for about hopefully we don't hear any more news about Nintendo filing another claim or filing an additional thing to their argument. Just hopefully no more. That's
I mean, they're obviously going to like try to argue against it because the whole point of this lawsuit is to drag it out. So they have to argue. I don't think they're gonna put new claims in though. I don't think they're gonna, unless somehow their patents get accepted in the US. I don't think they can do more for this in terms of like filing new suits, new claims, because they'd have to. The only way they do that is if they got accepted in the US, but that one very unlikely. They like applied for like 23 new patents and 22 were denied, which means the last one was also denied because if even one gets denied, they all get denied. Because it's weird. At least from what I know. So yeah. So that is the Palworld versus Nintendo. The next thing I want to talk about, we're going to be not changing it up a little bit, but Alchem, I don't think, have you played Claire Obscure Expeditions 33 yet? I know you said you wanted to, if I remember correctly, but
I would love to, honestly. From the more and more I see it, the more and more I want it, but unfortunately it's out of my budget range right now.
So I haven't played it either. I haven't played either, but I will be soon. But the game director has been talking to about basically so many people recently, and I think we've talked about this, but the majority of the dev team of Claire Obscure Expeditions 33, they made arguably for a lot of people the best RPG of this year, at least, is mostly ex Ubisoft devs, and they were the junior staff. Most of them were junior staff, so this is arguably their first real game. Like, I'm sure they've worked on other things before, but this is their first full-fledged game. And the game director was doing an interview, and he said he thinks it would have, if he were to pitch this game to a AAA studio, he thinks it would have taken over 2 decades of constant meetings and like trying to pitch this for it to get approved. Which to me sounds insane, but also like, yeah, I kind of get it. If you're trying to pitch a game like this to a AAA studio, like, unless you're going to a Japanese AAA studio, I don't see any Western AAA approving this. Even like Microsoft, who are pretty easygoing nowadays when it comes to approving games, I feel like I don't think any of them would approve this. What do you think?
No, it's because you're right. It's because of the system we live in for AAA publishing companies. Especially now, they're looking for whatever the hell it is that they think is going to sell millions and millions of copies. But I feel like they're so misguided. So
yeah, well, it's because like
they're just gonna
go ahead.
They're just gonna know a bunch of projects. Yeah. It's all I was gonna say is they're mostly gonna just say no to a lot of projects unless it has whatever the hell they think in their minds is the current trendy thing or things that people will just go crazy for.
Well, it's not only that though, because risks. Like when you think about the genre and type of game Expeditions 33 is, it's so many red flags for a AAA studio. Like if you're put yourself in that suit and tie, it's a brand new IP, original characters, original story, not connected to anything else. Like, for a AAA studio, that is a hard sell. Like, that is really hard to sell. Because that is a shot in the dark. And the AAA studio, and I mean, a fully fault for the AAA studio is that it also means that it's going to be like $100 million, like it's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars, because they can't go small team, or they like for whatever reason the AAA budget is insane. And which I do think is their own fault. I don't think it needs to be that insane.
Yeah.
But they have to kind of guarantee that they're going to make their money back, because they're spending so much money. And a brand new IP, an RPG, a turn-based RPG with an original story and original characters, that's going to take so long to approve in the Western market, especially. If you're in the Japanese market, maybe.
It'll work.
I think it would be easier to do that if you're in the Asian market, specifically Japan, but I think the Asian market itself, they kind of enjoy those style of games. Or that style of game is easier to sell to AAA studios, especially things like Sega and Atlas. Persona's Atlas as well, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yep.
That's what I thought.
What I'm surprised though is just why don't they, like, how you mentioned AAA studios have so much at their disposal, and like new teams of this and
budgets.
This and this.
The budgets have ballooned.
I still don't understand why doesn't a team or why don't they just decide, hey, let's do a multi-team project. Let's divide them and let's just push out game after game after
Smaller
game.
Games.
They have the budget for it. So
because I'm going to tell you something very sad. That's going to make you depressed. Because, Alchem, those games will not make billions of dollars. They'll make money, most likely. Like, they will make money. But will you make Fortnite money? Will you make Minecraft money?
Fortnite is running off the backs of time, effort, and now at this point, collabs.
Yeah.
These are games that have been around forever at this point.
But they don't get that.
Yeah, they forget that they need to sow the seeds of whatever new franchise that they want to do. And not every new franchise is going to be a blockbuster $1 million or $1 billion sell.
No, that's the problem.
It's small.
The problem, Alchem, isn't that it's not going to sell. It's not going to be $1 billion success.
Enough.
But every game that AAA studios make nowadays, it feels like it needs to be $1 billion success. But, and for instance, Expeditions 33... It's sold like 2 million plus copies now, I think, the last time I checked, and it's like, wow, this is amazing for the first game. It's critically acclaimed, basically. I've basically not seen anyone say a bad thing about this game.
Well, time to see if I can somehow get it and then just like talk shit about it.
I mean, I'm going to play it and I'm going to say I hate parrying. I know that because I know the combat system and I always hate parrying. So I'm going to have complaint about that probably, but I will admit, that's a skill issue probably on my end. I'll preemptively say this is probably a skill issue when I start complaining about the parrying.
Gently look out, parry!
No, I refuse.
You didn't parry.
I see? That's why
you parry?
No parrying. So yeah. That is why it's like, it was a 30 members in the team. And yeah, they've just made one of the best games of this year, most likely, especially now that GTA 6 is no longer coming out this year. I'm expecting Expedition 33 to like win a bunch of awards and maybe Game of the Year for how much the games media have loved this game. I think it's a big chance for Game of the Year. And I mean, it's not surprising. So many people love it. And yeah.
I know. Sorry, the more I hear about it, the more I'm just like, I want to get it.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably be playing it. I'm playing it at some point because I can play it on Xbox Game Pass. So, yeah, I have the PC Game Pass, or access to the PC Game Pass.
Ow!
Stop hurting yourself. So yeah. And it also helps that not only is it a RPG, but it's also like not a 100-hour RPG. Like it's a decently long game. Don't get me wrong, but like it's not 100 and something hours like some RPGs. So it's it's like, from what I could tell, like
Persona.
if you wanted to like just mainline the story, it's like 20, 30 hours. If you wanted to like finish everything, I think it's like 40 or 50 if I remember correctly. So it's not even like considering it's an RPG, it's not even like that long of an RPG. Considering how some RPGs are insanely long nowadays.
Hi, Persona, I'm looking at you.
You know, I still have never played a Persona game. I need to at some point. I need to.
You know, Persona 4 was good. I'd say Persona 5 because the flash, the style, the energy.
Yeah, a lot of people, every time I've talked about it, people have said Persona 5 is like the best as a new player because it does a lot of things that like as an RPG player makes sense, because Persona 3 and Persona 4 do weird things, at least from what I've been, not weird, but like they've said, I've been told that Persona 5 is the best game to get into, and if you really like that, then you can play the older ones, because the older ones are, I guess weird is the right term, I guess. Like, I'm not saying
more like
that.
they fine-tuned it.
Yeah, they fine-tuned
more like they fine-tuned the controls, the way it plays, and certain mechanics of the games.
Yeah.
And and
yeah, so maybe one
actually does do that, because I did exactly that. I jumped into 5 and then I started going backwards and I realized, certain things I'm used to aren't here.
Yeah, they got much better at like the game. It's like if I were to play the old Monster Hunter games from playing Monster Hunter World and Monster Hunter Wilds, like I'm sure the old Monster Hunter games would they'd hurt my brain. So yeah,
very much so.
So I am, every time something happens, every time there's a story about Claire Obscura Expeditions 33, it's very funny, because it's just like, wow, this game would have never existed if these guys decided at Ubisoft not that they were like, we're bored, let's just go quit this company and make a video game, which is basically what they did. At least the CEO of this dev team
of the game
game, he was bored. He had grown very bored with his job at Ubisoft and decided just to leave.
Yep. And he decided to just take his game and make it.
Yeah. And then I think it's also hilarious because it's just like, I don't know if you've heard this, maybe I told you already, Alchem, but like the composer of the game was found through SoundCloud. It was found through SoundCloud.
Oh my god.
Which is hilarious.
That was great. But damn, I'm just glad that
everything about this game just reeks
to make the thing.
Everything of this game reeks of like early 2000s game development. Of people just finding each other on forums and saying, let's just make a video game.
Yep. I mean, damn, was it well done?
Oh yeah. I can't wait for their like either DLC or like their next game, you know? I don't know if this is, I assume it's a complete game. I assume you could probably make DLC.
It was a Final Fantasy situation. It was one and done. If it didn't sell well, that was it.
I mean, to be fair, it might have been. It might have been. I mean, like, I also, but then again, it was also day one Game Pass, so they did get a decent amount of money from Microsoft, most likely to be put on Game Pass. So maybe that might have been able, but who knows? Who knows?
Wow.
So, speaking of Microsoft, I guess Microsoft adjacent. There's something, Alchem, that I've had a small passion for a while, and then immediately killed it because it was awful, and I couldn't play it anymore because it got changed. But Minecraft VR is no longer a thing. It's dead.
That was a thing?
It was a thing.
That was a thing.
Minecraft VR was a thing for a while. I played it very early on, and then it became a Oculus exclusive. Like, the first Oculus exclusive, Oculus Quest. Like, when it was still called Oculus instead of just Quest.
Oh.
So it was a while ago. And it is now no longer supported. Which is very sad. But also very no duh, because they basically I forgot that it existed because it was, let me tell you, Alchem, it was such a bad it was an interesting attempt, but they didn't really know VR. You know what I mean? Like, it was not it was a good first attempt, but the problem is that it was basically their only attempt from what I know. Like, they didn't really work on it. And yeah, it was kind of sad. But it's also like the whole VR space is basically dead. Like, I don't know anyone that's really working on a lot of VR stuff, and it's also been proven that VR is so it's just too niche. Like, the Quest definitely helped. The Quest definitely helped, but
it's honestly too niche. This is why I worry that Valve is not going to make the Index 2. They're going to just basically decide, no, there's nothing worth it, and that's it.
I mean, they're working on the Steam Deck. I don't even think they're working on the Index 2. They're working on Steam Decks.
I think they basically just it's been pushed to the back burner, or they just basically canceled it, just quietly canceled.
I mean, it's, to be fair, it's also Valve. Valve doesn't do things that are logical. Because I mean, the fact that they even made the Index wasn't really a logical move.
Came out of nowhere, yeah.
And they made a sequel to Half-Life with the Index, which is, I really hope one day we get a maybe they make a non-VR version of Half-Life Alyx, because I'd love to play Half-Life Alyx, but I'm not.
No, we get Half-Life Alyx 2.
Maybe.
Never get Half-Life Alyx 3, but
it would be funny if they make a Half-Life Alyx 2 and then they just go disappear for another 20 years. That would be funny.
But yeah, like as we were talking, VR unfortunately has become so niche that it's not viable to make more headsets, nor is it really viable to make games for it, because the people who play it solely for one thing anymore, and there's no real like game changer that's making people want to get VR anymore. There's nothing that's drawing people to it, which I can understand.
So, yeah.
No
and
surprise there.
Yeah. Like, especially with the Minecraft version of VR, I was able to play it once, Alchem, and it was probably the most frustrating time I played Minecraft that I've ever known. Like,
mechanics don't work?
It just feels slightly off. Everything feels slightly off. First of all, this is gonna sound, you'll know the pain here, but like the game's like optimization is worse than VR chat. Like, it's so bad. It was so bad when I played it. I was getting like 5 FPS sometimes, and then it would be fine at 60, and then I'd be going down to 10. Like, I honestly could only play it for like 10 minutes at a time because it was so it was so stuttery that I was getting, like, it was awful. Like, I was getting super sick. But they did fix that a little bit, so it wasn't as bad, but it was still pretty bad. But even when I was able to play it, like, hitting zombies with a sword felt really weird. It didn't feel satisfying. Like, aiming the bow felt really weird, and I was like, I definitely should have hit that. Even like using the pickaxe and breaking blocks felt weird. So yeah, it was weird. And the game would also just crash a lot too, along with like the stuttering. It would just crash. It would just like crash the desktop all the time. Like I said, I only played it once or twice in short form. Like, I played it more technically. I played it like 20 times, but it's only because I could play it like 10 minutes at a time. So it was 1 or 2 days, I guess, that I played it.
Oh.
But yeah, it's dead. Technically, you can still play. Okay, so technically, there is VR Minecraft. It is just not officially out from Mojang. But there is a VR mod pack that you can play called Vivecraft. Which, funny enough, I think is actually way better than the official version. The only problem with Vivecraft is that it's, once again, it's not made for VR. Minecraft isn't made for VR, so it doesn't really have the, I guess, the feel of an official port. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes official ports, even though you can do it with other regular modding, can be different. But yeah.
Yeah.
So that was just something I was like, oh yeah, another thing to add to the VR graveyard. I mean, to be fair, I own VR games other than VR chat, and I haven't played any of them in years, I feel like. It's basically, I've only ever played VR chat. Yeah, so like, I get it. Like, I don't even really play Beat Saber anymore. So, you know.
Graveyard. To the graveyard with it.
To the graveyard. Speaking of Valve and the graveyard, Alchem.
No, not the graveyard.
Yeah, the graveyard. So, Alchem, you aren't really into Counter-Strike, right?
Not really. No, I'm not, but
You probably know about this,
so
You probably know about this. So, for anyone that's interested, or for anyone needs some backgrounds, Counter-Strike, there's 3 versions of Counter-Strike that people talk about, or 4. Counter-Strike 1.6, Counter-Strike Source, CSGO, Counter-Strike Go, Global Offensive, and Counter-Strike 2. The current one is called Counter-Strike 2, right? People have a very fond memories of Counter-Strike 1.6. And 1.6 is basically OG Counter-Strike. Like the mod from Half-Life Counter-Strike. And 1.6 was the version that most people played. Now, when Counter-Strike Global Offensive or Counter-Strike CSGO was still a thing, people in the community, a bunch of people in the community, were making a mod called Classic Offensive, which was a CSGO version of 1.6. And Valve usually totally down for mods like these. They all kind of thrive on mods like these. Community stuff they do all the time, right? But it was really weird because it got the go ahead from the dev team, from the Counter-Strike Go team in 2017. The problem is it's taken a long time for this thing to come out. And unfortunately, the Classic Offensive has been officially sent a cease and desist letter from Valve to shut it down, which is very sad. And a lot of people are being why did this happen? And unfortunately, they were sent the official cease. The Classic Offensive people actually made an official statement talking about how they were officially greenlighted. And okay, what's the word I'm looking for? They applied, following our greenlight approval 7 years ago. We were granted Steam Works access and continued development, navigating technical changes in CSGO updates, all with the clear expectation of bringing Classic Offensive to the community via Steam. We submitted our build for review on October 2024, only to have the project unexpectedly rejected in January 2025 with a generic response stating it was not a good fit, disregarding our prior green light status. As we're prepared to update via ModDB instead, we received a cease and desist notification from Valve's socials just hours before launch. In follow-up communications, they clarified that releasing Classic Offensive would be disturbing derivative content based on their intellectual property, which is not permitted under the Steam subscriber agreement, which is unfortunate. And the weird thing is that Valve usually doesn't care about this. They generally don't care. But it seems like they care about this for some reason. And it might be because of Counter-Strike 2. Because it's not Counter-Strike 2, it's using CSGO, if I remember correctly. So maybe that might have been the thing. But obviously we're never going to know why. Valve's never going to say why. They have their reasons to say why. They have their reasons. But this is really sad. And it's very strange that they just decided to do this because it sucks. And Counter-Strike doesn't exactly have a lot of good PR. So the last thing it needs is for something like this to be shut down. And yeah, it just sucks. And like I said, I think the weirdest thing is that Valve usually doesn't care, about mods like these. There's tons of content on the Steam Workshop page that is Valve, you need to get rid of some of that crap. But generally they don't care. They're whatever, it's the community made. moderate yourselves. But yeah, it's weird that they decided to decide to just shut this down. My personal like tinfoil hat thing is because I think they're using CSGO instead of Counter-Strike 2. And they're trying to recreate 1.6, which technically exists already. Because 1.6 still exists. Like, you can still play it today. You can just buy Counter-Strike. I don't even think you need to buy it. It might be free. Like, Counter-Strike 1.6 still exists. I think you need to buy it, actually. But it's like less than $5 or something like that. It's like you have to buy OG Team Fortress and all that type of stuff. But yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird. I was shocked when I saw that because like, oh, I thought they were just running their own thing. But yeah. And I think the worst thing is that like even the team that was working on the mod, they said this situation has implications far beyond our project, raising serious concerns for the future of modding within Valve's ecosystem, that's the biggest problem, you know? Because
they're raising the red. They're
like this is
a big red flag.
Yeah. And
what does this mean?
Yeah,
there's something in the works in the background that that's going to change everything in terms of people being able to modify games.
Yeah.
Just scary.
Yeah, because so they have a thing in the Steam agreement thing. Valve's current stance appears to be that modding is now only allowed under very narrow conditions. Skins and maps published through Steam Workshop for a currently active Valve game. Maps developed using Valve's Hammer editor, distributed on the Steam Workshop or third parties. Original non-commercial games created with Source SDK 2013 that do not use Valve's IP. Mods based on Half-Life 2 or Team Fortress 2 using Source SDK 2013 within defined guidelines. Projects that have received explicit licensing from Valve. So basically, if you don't use the 2013 version of any of the games, or you're not making maps or skins, you have to get Valve's basically buy a license from Valve.
Get out of here! You're not allowed,
basically. Which wasn't their stance before, I feel like. But maybe they have to be more like hardline now. Which I'm not entirely sure what caused this, but maybe it wouldn't surprise me if Counter-Strike 2 caused this, only because they needed to be more tight-knit with Counter-Strike 2. Like, you don't know some of the history of Counter-Strike as well, but before official Counter-Strike maps, the CSGO maps were made by creators. Like, I think the biggest is Cash, if anyone is a Counter-Strike fan. And all the Counter-Strike 2 maps are made by Valve. Some of them weren't originally made by Valve. Like, the newest one is called Anubis, but the CS2 Valve bought the map IP rights from the guys who made it and then put it in the official map pool. Which is so, like, Valve needs to be in control of the things in Counter-Strike 2 now. Which is why a lot of people are thinking like might be one of the reasons why, which is also why I think the mod for Classic Offensive was taken down, because it doesn't use the old SDK. It uses CSGO. It uses the CSGO code. And like they didn't leak the code or anything like that, but it uses the CSGO source code, or like it uses that. It's not using the 2013 SDK, which is I think the reason they got taken down. Like the legal reason, that's the reason. But the bigger reason is that they need to be in control for whatever the modern stuff is. So yeah, it's just kind of sad. But I mean, at least Valve's like opinion on this is clear, kind of. Like it's clear enough. Like, okay, if you use things that aren't the SDK 2013, you're not allowed to use it. And if you're doing something other than making a map or a skin for a video game that Valve is making, you're not allowed to use it. Or using the Hammer editor, which is their official map making tool or whatever. I've heard some people talk about like that's how they make maps in Counter-Strike. Or like the oh god, what's that called? Like the death run maps and Gmod and stuff like that. People have also used Hammer Editor for that as well, I think.
Right. Oh.
So yeah, that is kind of sad. But I mean, hey, I guess it's better to have a more bigger stance, like to know Valve's stance on this. I mean, you can also tell how old this was because they're talking about the green light system, which hasn't been a thing in years. I feel like almost a decade for Steam, right? So it's an old project as well, which sucks because it's like, what, 10 years? No, 2017, so almost 10 years of work on this mod, which sucks because they just have to delete it, basically. But to be fair, you do run that risk when you work on mods. Like Valve is not exclusive when it comes to shutting down mods people love. So,
right.
It sucks. I'm not trying to give Valve an out, but like that is like an inherent risk on working on a mod, unfortunately. So that sucks. It sucks. And hopefully the mod team, I mean, obviously the mod team can't continue working, but hopefully they figure something out. Maybe they can make it different enough or use the older SDKs or something like that. Maybe. They could try to get permission if they just get an explicit license from Valve, maybe. But that probably takes money. Probably the money that they don't have. So, yeah. Yeah. It was sad times because also, Counter-Strike 2, to be fair, there's a lot of people that complain about Counter-Strike 2, and even though it's like literally the #1 game on Steam almost always, or at least top 3, because people love playing it, but I do miss a lot of the old game modes in Counter-Strike 2. I miss Danger Zone. I really enjoyed Danger Zone. Even though Battle Royale Counter-Strike was very funny and not serious, but that's why I liked it, It was a casual way to play Counter-Strike, and sometimes you need that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Times have changed.
Speaking
it's a real shame, honestly.
Yeah, it is a real shame, honestly. Yeah. I wouldn't have played it because I'm not a huge fan of Counter-Strike 1.6. Like the amount of randomness in 1.6 is kind of crazy. If you don't like know the mechanics of the game, it's like, wow. Okay. But yeah, it's unfortunate, but it happens when it comes to mods. Now, speaking of nostalgia, Alchem, this is purely a me story and I know this because it literally doesn't exist outside of Canada. But so Alchem, GameStop didn't exist in Canada for a very long time. What we had in Canada was called ebgames, right? Games was
just
what?
Isn't that just GameStop?
In the beginning, no. Games.
Right. Actually,
Games was an independent. Games was an independent company in 2005. GameStop was acquired Games in 2005.
Ah, that explains something.
Yeah.
Okay, I say that because there was an Games around where I lived a long time ago, and yeah, one day it just suddenly didn't vanish. It just suddenly became GameStop. I'm like, huh?
Yeah. So they were acquired by GameStop in 2005. But recently, GameStop Canada has been acquired by someone else, and they rebranded as EB Games Canada. So EB Games now exists again in Canada.
What a terrible time to be a physical game store
operator. Yeah, it's really weird that they were purchased, but
unless I start selling other games, quote unquote games, not just PC or console games, because
I'm gonna
most people to get their games
not to be, not to bring politics into this outcome, but being Canadian is a very big deal in Canada right now. So if you were to go to a physical shop or do physical games, a company owned by Canada, or not Canada, but like a Canadian company would be more likely to have sales than an American company right now, in Canada at least. So it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, no.
It kind of makes sense.
Definitely.
Though to be fair, it's just the Canadian branch. So it's not like they're owned by Canadians. It's just a Canadian branch of things. And I'll be honest with you, Alchem, like all the GameStops in Canada, like I don't actually know a GameStop near me because they all shut down. Funny enough, the GameStop. Go ahead.
No, I recently found out that the GameStop near me is gone. Like, I thought it would always be there, but no, I recently drove by around there. It's gone. It's closed down shop. The only thing left are just like the stickers, the little cool stickers of games that were releasing or that were popular. But that place is gone. Like, brick and mortar game stores are disappearing. When GameStop is basically the last bastion, so the only thing left would probably be like Best Buy. No, Best Buy gone, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Best Buy still. I mean, Best Buy in Canada. Best Buy in Canada still exists.
Yeah, there was a Best Buy around here. That's gone. There's practically no physical like place to get video games nowadays, or at least
Walmart
around
is probably
area.
Walmart is probably the biggest one. Do you not have a Walmart near you?
We have a Walmart, but I swear to God, it's like the Walmart. Look. I just feel like Walmart is just like the bastion of just bad. Like,
to be fair, I've heard American Walmart is built different in a bad way. American Walmart, American Wal. I'm like all those horror stories about Walmart are always American Walmarts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, there's no physical place for video games
anymore. I think the funniest thing, Alchem, is that GameStop existed in Canada for so little, because EB Games didn't lose their branding when they were bought. EB Games was still EB Games in Canada until 2021. They rebranded as GameStop at the end of 2021, and now at 2025 they're rebranding as EB Games. Like, it's so funny. Like, the GameStop has only technically, like, the name GameStop has basically only existed for like 4 years. It was EB Games still in Canada. And I mean, GameStop / EB Games have basically disappeared. Like, the EB Games near me, hilariously, has become a weed shop. They became a weed dispenser. And the one there was one GameStop in a big mall near me, and it doesn't exist anymore. It's just an empty thing that has like a rent, like for rent sign on it. Like, it's just all gone.
See, there was one nearby that I used to go to, and there was one in the mall that I used to go to as well. And they were so close to each other. They were less than like 30 minutes. No, they were less than 10 minutes away from each other walking. But the one in the mall, like, that one's gone because, well, everything in that mall is gone. That place shut down. The mall's gone. And just recently, like I mentioned, the GameStop that was right next door to it, completely gone. There's nothing left. There's no sign of it. GameStop is disappearing, Jelly. There's no physical place to get my video games now. Where am I going to get my Switch 2?
You're not. It's going to be sold out.
Don't say Walmart.
Well, first of all, you're not. It's going to be sold out. You know this.
Who am I going to rob to get a Switch 2?
Young children. For legal reasons, that was a joke.
Right, the children. You're right.
For legal reasons, that was a joke.
I'll take your advice. Winks at camera because it was a joke. Winks at camera. All right. But no, it is a shame that like these physical brick and mortar stores are gone, and I agree
that it's
like doom and glooms. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say my doom and gloom self because back early days of the podcast, as I was saying, we are no longer the owners of our video games. Physical ownership doesn't mean jack squat now, and even more so because we can't even get it half the time now.
Yeah,
which sucks.
I mean, okay, I agree with the fact that it sucks that physical games are kind of disappearing. I don't agree that GameStop, like, I miss GameStop, because GameStop has been terrible for the past, like, 30 years. Ever since I've been alive, GameStop was never that good.
No, you're not wrong. You're not
like,
wrong.
I agree that I agree that physical games, it sucks that physical games are disappearing, but I don't, like, GameStop is part of that problem, the reason, because they were such a terrible company.
I'll say this, they were simply a means to an end to buy games for me. Other than that, trying to resell, trying to do anything like that, exchange, trade, anything like, it was garbage. It was the worst. It was the worst experience in the world to deal with them.
Yeah, yeah.
They were just, for me, I remember, do you have this new game? And then I bought it.
The last time I tried to, like, give them games, like, try to do the trade-in stuff, I remember it very fondly because I was a kid and I came with my mom was doing the game stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We gave 25 games or something like that to them, and they gave us $3 of in-game store credit. Like,
oh my lord.
Yeah, it was so hilariously bad. We never did it again. Like, it was so bad.
How old were the games? Were they were Genesis, Nintendo, and like Atari?
They were OG Xbox games, I think, if I remember correctly.
What the hell?
But yeah, like, it was really bad. So like, it was the stereotypical, let me give you like 20 or 30 games, we'll give you $5 of in-game store credit or something like that, you know? Like, it was very close to that. Like, maybe they gave us slightly more, but no, it was really close to that. It was definitely it was definitely single digit worth of money for like over 20 games. It was terrible.
That's terrible.
It was terrible. I think we said no.
Oh, man,
when they offered that. We just we obviously just took the games back and didn't do that, but like, yeah, the fact that they even bothered trying to offer that was hilarious. And my mom never forgave them.
It's one of the other things that makes the video game market so weird, because you literally can buy these games, hold on to them for years, and if you ever want to trade them in or sell them or anything, people are like, oh, I'll give you $5 for them. Meanwhile, if you try to buy them online again, because, you know, they realize, oh, people like nostalgia, they sell it for practically full price.
Well, that depends on the game, but yeah. I mean, to be fair, that old school game market has been horribly inflated as well from scammers, sadly.
Yep. Trying to find a game from trying to buy a game from a certain era is buying the original hardware and stuff.
Buying like original NES or Super Nintendo, anything from like mid to late 90s, it's like, unless you want to like throw down a couple $100, sometimes thousands, like, you can't buy it unless you're going to at least online. But I would say, funny enough, just like always, the best way to buy old video games is you just go to a flea market, or you go to like where people set up stuff, like an like
get lucky.
And just hope, and just look around. When I've gone to like
that feeling is so good.
Yeah, I've gone to a I can't remember what it's called. Like it's called like an antique shop. But it's basically a warehouse where people can set up stores. Like it's like a convention.
Like
it's like a convention basically, or a flea market where people can set up stalls, and they just have prices with like, and it's got the old school thing where like it's literally paper taped onto items and with the price, and stuff like that. And I walked around and I was like, man, if I wanted to, I could buy so many of these old video games, because there was like an OG PlayStation for like $100 or something like that. There's a bunch of PlayStation games. Funny enough, there's also there was a lot of Wii stuff. But then again, that's almost 20 years old now, so, you know. If I wanted to, I mean, the only like caveat is, of course, when you're like, it's not like you don't know if it's actually going to work.
Yeah, buyer beware.
And with the older school stuff, it's hard to find TVs that will even work with the old school consoles nowadays too, because you need the tube TVs most of the time.
And, yeah, or get yourself a converter.
Yeah, you have to, or a converter, yeah. But sometimes those converters can be a little weird. But yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that was just a funny story for me specifically because I saw that on like ebgames. I saw the title ebgames coming back to Canada. I was like, first of all, they basically didn't leave, and second of all, it doesn't matter. They're all closed down. Where are they going to open up? Like, where are they going to open? Yeah, like, it doesn't exist.
You're bringing back to life something that isn't necessary or isn't needed. Sadly, the current market won't sustain it.
Yeah, like, okay, I'm not going to dox myself, but like, Canada has relatively small population, and everyone is in the same spot. I am not in like the middle of nowhere. I am in one of the main centers. I live where most people live in Canada. You know, it's not that hard to find out, and it doesn't exist. I can't actually go to a GameStop. I'd have to go very far. I feel like I'd have to drive for like hours to find one if I really wanted to. So like, it's just it just makes no sense. The people who bought this,
you're gonna trade in all your games for $20.
Yeah, you're gonna lose so much money.
At this point, you might as well just hold on to your games and sell it online for a price you believe is fair, or just look up whatever other people are selling it for and just try to match. Either undersell or oversell just slightly. It's up to you.
So, Alchem,
especially if you're just trying to get rid of it.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would say if you want to get rid of your old stuff, just sell it online or whatever. Or just throw it out. It's whatever.
Or just do what GameStop does. Just throw it out. It's not even worth it to them.
Yeah.
Actually, it is. They're just going to resell it at a higher price. That's how they did it.
I know.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Not a secret.
It's not a secret.
Yeah.
It's literally how they made money.
Yep.
Now they just rip off people in stocks.
Yeah, I mean, there was stocks, and then I remember they were trying to sell phones and stuff. I remember they were trying to sell like the last time they were selling all this other like collectible stuff, statues, figurines, anime stuff.
I mean, never worked. GameStop was basically a pop figure seller for the they had walls of pop figures. I'm like, where are the video games, man?
The Funko Pops
were everywhere. I'm like, what the heck? They basically only sold Funko Pops the last time I looked.
Yep. Then they started to just sell the trading card stuff, but you can only make so much money with that.
I mean, I actually have a card shop near me. Yeah, I have a card shop near me, and they actually do look like they do pretty well. Every time I walk by, there's people there. But to be fair, they're in like one, they have very little competition in the mall that they are in, and two, like they're like the only card shop that I know of in like a very long while. So like,
wait, do they let people go in and play the games?
Yeah, they have most of the store is tables for people to play.
Yeah, GameStop
and they run tournaments and stuff for like mouse, like the game mats and stuff like that. And packs.
GameStop, see, if you did that, you'd be fine, but nah, you never did that.
Yeah.
What did you learn? Too late.
They still haven't. I mean, remember when they opened that NFT marketplace?
Oh my God, no.
Yeah. That was a great investment. Speaking of those three letters, Alchem.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I don't have a story. I just wanted to bait you. But there is something with three letters that I do want to talk about. And unfortunately, it's a weird thing because the FTC delayed something that I really thought was not going to be delayed, because it kind of affects video games nowadays, unfortunately, but it affects like all media now. So I'll just read the headline. FTC delays enforcing click to cancel rule that would finally bring the hammer down on companies that make it annoying as possible to cancel subscriptions. And because unfortunately video games are coming to the fact where, like with the Xbox Game Pass and there are so many subscriptions as well, I thought this rule was going to easily get pushed through, but apparently the FTC isn't going to enforce it, which really sucks because man, is it annoying to cancel some subscriptions. Like, holy cow.
It's like maybe someone lobbied to try to get this to be pushed
almost
back.
almost
hold
like
on, wait, hold on, I gotta find my tinfoil hat.
Yep. I mean, Alchem, you also might want to find something more hardier than that, because I'm pretty sure the assassins are on their way, now that you said that.
Oh god, I can't get under the desk.
Under the desk.
It's
so
okay, I'll be fine. He said it.
So it's like, it's even weirder. So the official ruling is, it is passed, the click to cancel ruling. The problem is they delayed enforcing it for some reason. It was supposed to go into effect on May 14th, which is a couple days from now. But on May 9th, they voted 3-0 to delay enforcing it until July 14th for some reason. And no one knows why. Like, literally no one. Like, I don't know why they would just delay it a month, basically. Wait, May, June, no, 2 months. So no one knows why. But like, it passed. Like, this is going to go into effect. So basically, the ruling itself is, like, the rules concerning subscriptions and other negative option plans. Basically, you have to make it so you can just click to cancel. It's a one button where you say, I want to cancel this, and you click, I want to cancel this, and you can click yes. And then and then it's done. You know? Which is basically like, hey, it's basically make it the same way to sign up. You know, when you try to sign up for something, they make it as easy as possible because they want you to sign up. But obviously they make it really hard for you to cancel. Basically the thing is, they want you to make it equal. It's just as easy to cancel as it is to sign up. And this passed very easily, I might say. Like, one of the few things people can agree on. Everyone hates this.
Yeah, which is like you said, it's odd that
it's
all of a sudden
weird that it got delayed. Well, it's not even. It's weird that like it passed, but the enforcing it is delayed, and I wonder why.
What?
I think the problem is that I'm not entirely sure what division, because this is the FTC, so this is the American government, and the American government is going through it right now. So maybe they don't know who's going to enforce it. Because who's left to enforce it? That might be a problem, considering the American government right now. But like, even then, I don't know why you'd bother delaying it. Just, I mean, the threat of it might be enough, to be fair. At least for the smaller companies.
Yeah.
So that's weird.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, we won't know, and there's nothing we'll know. It's just gonna happen, and hopefully, when it goes into effect and finally gets implemented, you know, there's nothing else there. Hopefully, it really is. Hopefully, nothing else there.
Yeah. So hopefully, basically, their official reasoning is to give businesses more time to comply with this rule. But
how long have they had?
They've had a while. I mean, this isn't a new thing. While this was implemented, or this was, what's it called? Like the bill was submitted under Biden last year. So they've had a while.
It makes you wonder though, what the hell happened?
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. So yeah, hopefully in when it does actually happen in July, it'll be easier to cancel things for everyone. Because I mean, the main thing this is going after is when you sign up for a free trial and that free trial turns into a paid subscription, and then it's really annoying to try to cancel it while during the free trial. That's one of the things that they were going after aggressively, and everything else was just like, you know, cherry on top, because there are some real predatory things where you sign up for a free trial, forget about it, and that full free trial turns into a year-long subscription where it's like the most expensive plan. So yeah, so hopefully that
we
stops.
all knew that was the idea.
Yeah. So hopefully that goes through.
Hear something about this later.
Oh yeah, we definitely are. If it gets delayed again, then there is something weird happening. Like, you can kind of understand, like, okay, give companies more time, sure. 2 months in the business world, 2 months to implement a new policy isn't that big of a deal. Like, sometimes it takes a while to implement these things, right? Sometimes it does, especially if the bigger the company, the longer it takes, because you have to get approval, you have to have meetings for their approval, and you have the meeting for the meeting for the meeting. I get it, bureaucracy, I get it. I understand. Right. I've been there. But if it gets delayed again, then I start questioning, okay, then I put my tinfoil hat on. Like, who the heck is stopping this? Like, it's already approved, guys. You can't keep, do you think you can delay it indefinitely? I doubt it. That's when it gets delayed a second time. That's when I put my tinfoil hat and like, okay, guys, come on now. Because even though it doesn't affect me, whatever the FTC does generally affects everyone, because most companies really care about the American side of things. So, especially if they're an American company. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, hopefully it goes through, or hopefully it just happens on July 14th, because that'll be really nice. And hopefully it happens soon, mostly because, unfortunately, it seems like video games are kind of going that subscription-based route too as well, especially with Xbox Game Pass gobbling things up, and the PlayStation subscription thing. Nintendo has a subscription thing. EA has one. Ubisoft has one. Everyone has one nowadays. So hopefully that happens, so then these companies have to follow those rules as well. So yeah, that is all the stories I have for today, Alchem. Unless you have anything else to say, you can do your shoutouts.
No, unfortunately not. There's, like you said, like we started earlier, it was
a little
slow day.
A little slow week in news, but you know what? Like we did say this earlier. In terms
of gaming and electronics.
Yeah, gaming and tech a little slow, unless you're a super tech nerd, because I know there's some stuff happening with phones and like Apple and stuff, but I don't know enough about that. But yeah, but I mean, for video games, we're probably basically just waiting for Summer Games Fest. I feel like
we're waiting for GTA. I mean, Doom Eternal is.
I mean, Doom Eternal came out, but that game's great. It's a good game. Everyone knew it was going to be a good game.
There's nothing. Yeah, there's literally nothing bad about it. It's Doom Eternal's out. It's good. People like it. It's
Doom
exactly what it was meant to be. Yeah,
Doom
Dark Age. Sorry. Yeah, I said Doom Eternal.
Yeah,
Doom
it's
Dark
like,
Age.
Did you like Doom 2016 and Doom Eternal? Yes, you'll probably like Doom Dark Age. Is it different? I mean, a little bit. Did you not like those games? This game probably won't change your mind. It's the exact same game.
If you like Doom back then,
in the best way possible. And I'm saying, like, I'm using the whole it's the same game in like a positive thing. It's if you want more Doom with a slightly different coat of paint, this is exactly what you get. And honestly, I wouldn't change that. I didn't play Doom Eternal, and I'm probably not going to play the next one. I'm not going to play Dark Ages, but I enjoyed Doom 2016. And if I wanted more Doom, I'd buy those games. I just didn't want more Doom, So yeah. Yeah, I mean, that was like one of the bigger releases, but yeah, basically that's it. So yeah, Alchem, why don't you do some shoutouts?
All right, here we go. So everyone, thank you so much for joining us for the podcast. For those of you who've been wondering who am I'm the little dookie that could Alchem. I am currently, if you're watching this live, you're currently watching it through my channel on Twitch. If you're watching it through YouTube, you can on Jelly's YouTube channel. You can catch me over on Twitch or on my YouTube channel, where I just play a wide variety of games, have my fun. Usually I'm just chilling and chatting, and sometimes I'm exploring VR. Sometimes I'm just trying to finish up a lot of different games I'm trying to finish up on. But yeah, you can catch me on those platforms, or usually on Twitter, where I post random stuff, funny things that I like, updates on my models, whatever random thing is happening to me throughout the day. Sometimes just post whatever the heck I feel like. But yeah, you can catch me there, or on Blue Sky, or yeah, those are pretty much or on TikTok. Yep. And if you want to support me, you know how. There's subscribing. There's to the channel on YouTube or on Twitch. donating on Patreon if you ever want to. But there's all those different methods. But then, more importantly, just hop on by and enjoy the stream. But also, just catch me usually on Sundays where I co-host a podcast with the Techno Jelly over here. Yeah.
Yes. Hello, I am the Techno Jelly. If you're on my YouTube, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers. And once we do, I'll be doing a Q&A video. So if you're interested in that, please subscribe to the channel. We do this podcast weekly, and I upload it onto my channel on Sunday. If you missed it out, any of it, you can go back into my channel, watch all of the archive stuff. I'm currently also going to be, hopefully, soon also uploading this to Spotify. If you'd like to check that out there, hopefully, when it happens, I will let everyone know. Because Spotify makes it very weird to do it when you're not part of like some company thing. It's weird, and I have to read a bunch of stuff, and it's really boring, so I keep delaying it because it's really boring, because it's all this stupid stuff that I have to click agree to that I want to skip over, but I shouldn't, so I don't. But yes, if you'd like to check me out on other platforms, I also have a Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads. If you'd like to check me out all on at the Techno Jelly. If you'd like to support the podcast directly, we have a Patreon. I'm going to be revamping the Patreon because I've run into a couple problems with doing the rewards. So I'm probably going to be changing the rewards slightly, a little more not enforced, a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess proper? Streamlined. I'm going to streamline the rewards easier so it's easier for me to do, and I'll probably have to talk to Alchem about that actually now that I think about it. Well, I'm going to have to remind myself of that later this week. But thank you everyone for watching episode 47 of Two Buds One Podcast. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye everyone.
Bye guys.